was one dog that was honestly too adorable to pass up.
Hello friends, and welcome back. Sherlock Hound was my very first video project 2 years ago, and while it was my first video, it was by no means her first costume. You are clearly here for the corgi content, so let's take a second to indulge in previous year's outfits. We have Amelia EARhart, Robin Hound, Oregon Trail, Dog-cula, and Game of Bones. So we've established precedent, and now let's turn to motive. There is a corgi costume party happening tomorrow, just a short ways from my house, and there will be corgis, there will be costumes, there will surely be chaos, and there will be prizes. Cannell will be going as Dogpool, everyone's favorite irreverent anti-hero. We have less than 24 hours to make this costume though, so I'll get right into the creation process, and that starts with a trip to the thrift store. So that was a very successful trip to the thrift store, and between what I purchased there and what I found laying around my apartment and my copious stash, I think I have everything here that we're going to need to make the costume. So let's take a look at all of the components that are going to be going into this. As you saw, I did find a bright red t-shirt, which I then supplemented with a black one from my own wardrobe that I no longer wear. And then that is going to be supplemented with these sort of random assortment of straps, buckles, braces. This is the strap from an old bag that I had saved. And this is going to be used to sort of just add out the fancy trimmings that are on various parts of Wade's costume. Next up, we have the two little swords that Wade wears sort of crossed onto his back. I don't know if they're actually called swords. Either way, I'm quite happy to have found these. And then lastly, there is my supply of Cannell patterns. I'm not actually sure if I have anything in here that's going to work because this costume is very different from all of her previous costumes in that it actually has sleeves. Generally her costumes are more just capes and maybe they have a little chest portion, but I don't do sleeves very often. So let's go digging through here and see if I have anything in here that I can use or if I'm going to be starting completely from scratch. So while I did find one costume in here that does actually have a sleeve pattern, I think I remember what this is from, and while it was freaking adorable, it's also probably way too small for her, but I'm not entirely sure, so I'm just gonna go get her and bring her here, and we're gonna see if it looks like she's gonna fit into this or not. Wee! Girl. Oh. All right. So I'm not 100% sure what all is going on here. Nothing seems to really fit her in the front and everything is way too short in the back. So I think just gonna start from scratch and make something completely new and see how that goes. Except I really didn't want to start from zero, so I went back, found the website that I took the pattern from, which then led me to the original file I had purchased, as well as some instructions, and while it's not the most intuitive pattern, I decided it was definitely better than starting from scratch. Having finally gotten the pattern assembled or reassembled, I will say that was not the most intuitive or smooth process. I'm not fully in love with the way that the pattern pieces are labeled, but I have them together. I have the back here, and I have in fact left it in two separate sections because Cannell is an extra long dog, and so I'm thinking that instead of attaching them together, I'm just going to actually cut them out a little bit too long and then put it on her and like pin in and tuck in to the point where the length is correct. So the back is in two pieces and the sleeves have been cut out because they somehow look different than the sleeves pattern that I have. I don't know. So next step is going to be to cut this out of the mock-up fabric. This, by the way, is by no means going to be a tutorial on how to fit a costume on a dog. This entire video is a thinly veiled excuse to shoot a bunch of footage of cute dogs in ridiculous costumes. So don't look for a tutorial, just enjoy the chaos that is me trying to make this costume, and yeah, let's go to the next step. So I have what is possibly the world's ugliest mock-up, and we're just gonna try it on and see how it fits. Wish me luck, right? Well, I have to say that actually turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. So let's look at the changes that I've made. I thought I cut that back pattern ridiculously long. Like, I thought I had given myself more than sufficient fabric in order to be able to take a tuck here and shorten it, but as it turns out, Canella is extremely long, so in fact I gave her just barely enough length. Other than that, I went in and tweaked a little bit the armhole area, make it fit her a little bit better, and hopefully give her a better range of motion. And then I also went in and took out a little bit of width in the belly and chest area because she is an incredibly slim dog. So I did pinch out a lot of the fabric there. But other than that, it's looking pretty good. The only real question I have is that there is still something kind of funky going on with the hind leg area. Something is just not sitting right. So I'm going to continue to play with that a little bit, then add those adjustments back into my paper pattern, and then we can cut it out of the red. And I need to start moving a little faster because I am quickly burning through the daylight here. I fussed with the back legs for a bit longer, but in the end I gave up and just cut them off altogether. If I couldn't pattern them correctly, she'd be uncomfortable and it just wasn't worth it for me. Next, I took the pattern apart and transferred the changes back to paper, evening and smoothing out the lines, and then I transferred this all to a new piece of paper where I also marked which parts would be red and which would be black. With my fabric all cut out, I could just iron under the edges of the black and sew them carefully onto the red. I don't have a whole lot of tips for sewing cotton knits other than using a lot of pins and sewing slowly. I did get out my serger for a couple of these seams, but it's definitely not necessary to have one, and I did about half of the seams on my normal machine, and that worked out just fine too. So now I was really starting to run short on time, so footage gets a bit sparse, but basically what I did next was add on all of the black trimmings one at a time. This process was heavily interspersed with costume fittings to make sure that everything was sitting in the right place. It was of course also rewarded with ample treats. I think the trick was to make sure that all of these accessories were tacked down enough to not move around when she walked or ran, but not so much that she felt like she was in a straitjacket. For the katanas, the shoulder strap was cut in half, and that worked perfectly to help hold them in place. Pretty much all of this was sewn on by hand because it was just easier to manipulate and to make sure that I was pinning everything exactly in the right place. Sometimes, for thicker materials, that meant using a pliers to get the needle to go through all of those layers without killing my fingers. My favorite part might be the belt packs, which I didn't have time to replicate in full, but they were just different widths of webbing sewn into a rectangle and then stuffed with the fabric from the mock-up. The last part, and probably the hardest, was the mask. I wanted her to be comfortable and to not have her vision obscured, and the process of designing the perfect shape was really just a lot of trial and error. In the film, the eye holes are covered with black mesh, but again, I wanted her to be comfortable in this costume, especially since she'd be surrounded by other dogs, so instead I just gave a thin black lining to the red, which both helped to stabilize the eye holes and to give a hint of black without completely covering her eyes. Well, that was quite the experience. There were several firsts in there for me, including creating what is basically the corgi version of a luchadora mask. My workspace is a complete disaster. It looks like a tornado has hit, but I don't have time to worry about that because I have a corgi to dress up and a costume party to attend. The Paw-lloween party was a great success. It was so much bigger than I expected, and all of the dogs were super cute and very well behaved. Cannelle was an absolute champ, posing to have her photo taken by literally hundreds of people and being well rewarded for her patience. We did several laps of the park, made many friends, both furry and human, and were interviewed for the local Gazette.
Can I speak to you for 1 minute?
Oh, he's Deadpool!
And then it was the moment everyone had been waiting for.
On va annoncer maintenant les gagnants du costume aujourd'hui. On a des jurys ici de Haphazard.
We love the Montreal community being from Montreal ourselves. It was a very hard decision, like really hard because all your dogs are so cute and the costumes are amazing. But there was one dog that was honestly just too adorable to pass up. It was Deadpool. Give it up for Deadpool!
So we won an ample supply of dog treats, and we celebrated that win with a nice long fetch sesh in the park. If you're digging the corgi content, you should definitely check out my corgi couch build, which should be on the screen as I speak. Thanks so much for watching, have a happy and safe Halloween, and I'll catch you in my next video.